Hey, music teachers! The following is a message for every music teacher who feels like they need to be confident when teaching singing technique, maybe can't get past some of the hurdles of maybe imposter syndrome that can come from maybe lack of specific training or experience. So my name is Karen Yanuszewski, or Kay for short, and I'm owner and creator of Uplevel U Music. And here is the truth that you need to know about vocal music pedagogy. In fact, here is some of the biggest problems that maybe you face right now. It's lack of accessibility to strategies that work for students to just simply improve their singing tone. But that's actually not the end of the problem. It actually kind of gets worse. Well, why? Because singing is so subjective and it's because you can't see the instrument in motion. So what if you're an instrumental music teacher? That's maybe how you were trained, that's how you were raised, that's what your main instrument is in, but maybe you have to teach singing. Maybe you have a choir you have to teach. Maybe you do all of the music, not just instrumental. And, what if you just plain weren't trained to teach that way? There's a lot of consolidation happening in music schools, schools these days, and that kind of setting is pretty common actually. So with singing being so subjective that you can't see the instrument that you're used to seeing and fixing that way, that can be really, really hard to make sure you're getting it right. So that means that without proven strategies and pedagogical training, you may have students that don't improve or maybe even sing in unhealthy ways. Like, we don't want to set up our students for injuring themselves, and that can happen. And worst of all, most music teachers can't get past the idea that singing is just singing and just preparing the songs is enough. That works for the elementary levels, but what about those really passionate students that want to succeed, or the students that are landing leads in your school musical? But luckily now for you, there is a solution to this problem. So if you're a music teacher who really needs to be confident when teaching singing technique, but can't get past some of these hurdles, or maybe like imposter syndrome, or you can't seem to find the specific training that you need, here is the solution you've been looking for. Introducing Vocal Pedagogy for Non-Voice Majors. Vocal Pedagogy for Non-Voice Majors is an online course that helps you to overcome that imposter syndrome and confidently teach your students to sing correctly, even though you weren't a voice major. Have choirs, soloists, and musical leads that sound amazing at their next performance. Improve your own vocal technique if you aren't fond with some aspect of it. Understand how to be sure your students are students that are singing in healthy ways just by listening to them. Can you hear if they're doing it correctly? This course will teach you that. Know how to teach students to develop good tone and projection in only the healthiest ways, and so much more. And best of all, you'll start seeing results with the Vocal Pedagogy for Non-Voice Majors as soon as you start implementing the strategies. And all it costs is $167, or even less if we're running a promotion. So again, if you're a music teacher that was never trained in vocal technique or vocal pedagogy, who wants to know if you're teaching your students correctly and get your students the results that they are dreaming of, the ways of singing and the sound of singing and the way that they're admiring in others and dreaming about for themselves, this is the solution for you. So understand this, every day that goes by though is one less day for your students to be on that journey to their exceptional vocal technique and sound. You'll be able to reach the students that are already straining and possibly damaging their voices without your intervention. That can happen at a young age. I have seen it, I have witnessed it, I've worked with students that have been dealing with that. It can happen decently young, okay? We don't want that. We don't want to set up our students for that. And then remember also that performing arts positions can get cut when students don't perform well, either the positions or your position specifically. Okay, so others in the school community are hearing that they're not improving or not quite up to par. It should be your job to show the decision makers in your district that your students will excel and that you can confidently prove that and show it. So act now before it's too late. So get on board with Vocal Pedagogy for Non-Voice Majors from me, Karen Yanuszewski, or you can just call me Kay, from Uplevel Music